Northern California.
What's up, YouTube? It's me, the artisanmc, and tonight I'm going to review Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 8, the finale. Now, I have to say up front, I was a bit skeptical on this episode and how it was going to turn out. I did the watch party and I did find myself a little nervous on how this episode was going to pan out due to the fact that the last few episodes of this were shocking in not the good way. Okay? That expectations for this show has gone down the longer these episodes came out, and what was showed is that it was a loss of vision, and that John and Dave probably didn't write a lot of this stuff. It was really off in some areas. Be that as it may, I still watch this episode because I'm a fan of this series and this character, and I wanted to see how they wrapped up this whole story. And for the most part, how they wrapped it up was it could end right here. And that would be it. If it ended at season 3, that would be it. Because that's the ending that I got. The ending I got was kind of safe, kind of just put people somewhere and left them. You can never see them again, or you could see them again. You don't know. But it's left that ambiguous in a way that the episode doesn't end with a oomph. There is no there. There's no pull to want to see more. And there's not really a notion to pull back any more than I already have because of things that happened earlier on in the season. So can't say I'm overly liking the ending. This episode starts off with the Mandalorians on the run, being led by Bo-Katan and running from the Dark Troopers, the enhanced Dark Troopers that now with the new Beskar smell armor, are chasing the Mandalorians through these tunnels in their base. And while Bo-Katan is leading the rest of the Mandalorians away, Din Djarin is still captured, being drug off somewhere else, and Axe Wolves is gone jetpack through a crack in the ceiling, and he's flying up into the upper atmosphere to get out to space to meet up with the fleet. Now, I didn't know those jetpacks could fly that high. I didn't know that with a jetpack and Beskar on, you can break an atmospheric barrier and reach escape velocity to get out to space. I didn't know that. I really didn't. Being that I had to watch an episode where these jetpacks ran out of gas after just chasing things at sea level, I'm kind of amazed his jetpack can fly him into the upper atmosphere and out into space. Solo. No assist. That seemed like a lot of damn fuel, especially if you were starting from inside the planet. Just saying. Be that as it may, the last command Bo-Katan gives Axe Wolves is to use the capital ship as a decoy, and for everybody to evacuate the ship, get onto the gauntlets. Get out of there. Everybody abandon the ship. And while she's doing that, she is trying to lead the contingent of Mandos that she has with her out of those tunnels and to escape the Dark Troopers that are chasing behind them. Now, what I got in this part of the episode is a lot of dudes running and 2 girls, 2 females, 2 women being the ones to stand back and hold it down and cover the retreat. that was rubbing me the wrong way. Look, Mandalorians are supposed to be badass fighters. Even in a retreat, I don't think the only two people that would be stopping to look back and make sure, the door is shut is the two women. It makes them look weak as fuck. Weak as shit. Especially after they killed Paz Vizsla in the last episode. It makes them look weak as shit, like all the masculinity just left the room. So, that being said, it comes to a point where the Mandos with Bo-Katan are trapped, but one of the other Mandalorians that are with them tells them if they can get to the surface, he knows a place they can hide out until reinforcements come. Sure enough, they find a crack in the ceiling. He jetpack through it, and everybody else jetpacks out and follows him out of those caverns onto the surface of the planet. Now, while Axe Woves is doing his, space shuttle impression out in the space, Din Djarin is being dragged somewhere. They're never really saying where. Inside Moff Gideon's compound, a little base of operations. And he eventually takes the opportunity to try to break free and fight these two soldiers. And he does a pretty good job. I mean, he gets some lazy tags on him, which is more like he's posing to get hit as opposed to they just got a lucky shot off of him. But he is holding his own and giving them a little bit of work in the hallway with his hands tied. All right. Well, at the last moment where he is captured, where he is garroted with the Dark Troopers' little zip line that they shoot out, right before he puts the blaster underneath his chin, underneath Din's chin to shoot him, his hand is attacked by IG-12 and Grogu, yelling "No, no, no," and breaking the stick and beating the guy. Now, this is all well and good because I did forget at the time where the hell Grogu went during this fight. I would assume he was running with Bo-Katan and everybody else. But if I remember correctly, he did run in the opposite direction. He was going to find his papa to see if he was okay. And that's what you get, the reunion of Grogu and Din in this hallway with these guards defeated, that his son came to help him, which is cool. It's a good moment for me. I wasn't up in arms about it. It was just what it was. Now, further in the base, Moff Gideon is looking at a map and seeing where the other Mandalorians are running, but he also sees where Din and Grogu are running, specifically, those two blips. And it makes me wonder, like, did he chip Grogu, or are they just reading just two different colored patterns on the screen, and that's the one he's picking that, well, that has to be Din and the baby. It seems kind of stupid. Now, once Bo-Katan and her contingent get out of the caves onto the planet's surface, the Black Mandalorian leads them to an underground cavern, and they go in the cavern and they see that it is lush and green and beautiful. And Bo-Katan remarks how they have cultivated the flowers and that she doesn't, the fauna, and she doesn't remember seeing all of that stuff on the surface inside the dome of Mandalore. And what this Mando tells her is that they have a bunch of little places like this, and that they didn't get it from anywhere. They gardened it. They cultivated it. It was growing. That the surface of the planet actually came back on its own and started sprouting this greenery, these natural plants that were there, and they just tended to it. They just tended to the plants. So it's a really beautiful indoor kind of cave situation with an explanation that might seem plausible, but ultimately it serves no point in the story right now. It doesn't. If anything, it's a lead-in for something going on Mandalore. Other than that, it makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. It's serving no point. Because within a few minutes, while Axe Woes has gotten outside the atmosphere, and could radio to the ship to, hey, evacuate everybody to the gauntlets. Imperial Remnant is here. They coming with fighters to take the ship. Let's give them the ship. Everybody else get out of here. Now, while he's flying up to the ship saying all this, these dumbasses on the bridge are still standing there like they don't understand basic. Okay? And this shit is bothering me because once Axe gets inside the ship, you know, he gets inside the ship and runs to the bridge, everybody is still sitting there like, is he talking basic or was that bocce? I don't understand. Oh, you mean we should go now? We should actually leave? Oh yeah, let's fucking go. I'm like, what the fuck is with these Mandos in this shit? They like are slow on the fucking uptake. They're not as good of a fighter as they supposed to be. I'm like, dude, is this the leftovers? What the fuck? Where's the A material? Jesus. That was bothering me because they waited too goddamn long. And of course, it's a brother standing on the bridge in charge of everything, looking like a dumbass standing up there with Mandalorian armor, like, I don't understand the command that was given. Fucking evacuate the ship. Jesus. This bothered me. Now, once they all evacuate the ship, they fly out in their jetpacks and fly down to the gauntlets, and then the gauntlets go below the cloud cover. The actual TIE interceptors come up through the cloud cover, and they're going to attack the Corsair ship that's there, with Axe Wolves at the helm trying to fly the ship. Now, once the gauntlets get below the cloud cover, the armorer radios to Bo-Katan that your reinforcements are here. And Bo-Katan and the contingent of Mandos that are there with her fly out of the cavern and meet back, at the rallying point, which is at Moff Gideon's base, the little hole in the ground that goes to his base. And they engage the forces of Moff Gideon in the base, in the air, with jetpacks, and the Darksaber flinging. Now, this is another point that kind of bothered me because there's a shitload of Mandalorians here, right? Shitload. They already killed one of the most notable ones from the covert. So you don't know any of the rest of these faceless fucks. You really don't. But every scene from this point is taken from the perspective of showing you Bo-Katan, Casca Reeves, or the armorer. It is like a girl boss, AVX, or not AVX, but the female Avengers. That's what it seems like. It's like, the baddest ass people are just the girls, and 3 of them, all in front, flanked in the background by a bunch of fucking dudes. We don't even know who the hell they are. And they get into this large fight with the Dark Troopers in the air of Moff Gideon's base. Now, also happening at this time is Din and Grogu making their way through the base, trying to find Moff Gideon. And Din calls to R5 and tells R5 he needs his help to give him a schematic of this base so he can find Moff Gideon. And R5, from where he's hiding, rockets down the crevice into the base and finds a terminal and jacks into it and starts feeding Din information the same way R2 would do for Luke or anybody else, right? He in the system, he figuring out what's going on, where it's at. I'm opening doors, and I'm giving you a way to get to where you need to get to. All well and good. Now, the part that's bothering me still is Grogu riding around in this IG-12 unit. It seems really clunky and really a bad idea that you're going to get this kid killed. Right? But be that as it may, that's the only thing about that that's bothering me. The fight in the sky over Moff Gideon's base with the forces of Bo-Katan, backed up by their reinforcements against the Dark Troopers of Moff Gideon, is interesting in a sense, but it's just a lot of dark saber waving and people blowing up and crashing and all the rest of that because they're flying on jetpacks. What you find out from Axe Woos is that he has apparently knocked out some of those TIE interceptors and has faced the ship down towards Moff Gideon's base and is currently flying the ship down to destroy Moff Gideon's base. Now, at this point, Din happens upon the control center he was looking for, and going through there, he has some fights in a very game of death kind of way. That every time a door opens, he has to fight a different group of people, which could be game of death or it can be the prequel series with Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan was cut off by the barrier between seeing Maul kill his master, Qui-Gon Jinn. He got to stand behind an energy shield and understand that when this door opens, it's going to be go time. That's what Dan got a little bit of in this one. He got a couple of go times with every trip through these different sections gained him another weapon or accessory to use in the next round against the next person. Was it kind of cool? Yes. A Mandalorian fighting with no, retractable whip, flames, mini missiles, jetpacks, blasters is interesting. He had to go hand to hand and gain his weapons as he fought people, which I like that. It shows Din being a capable fucking fighter, not needing to pledge himself to anybody to, get down. He does things. After he fights his way through that, you see Din Djarin coming up on a door and being led out to see that it is Moff Gideon. But not Moff Gideon in the way that you thought. And here we see a bunch of containers, so to speak, filled with green liquid. And while Din looks at it and then lets Grogu know to stay here and moves forward, Grogu takes a closer look at these tanks. And what he sees in the tanks are humanoids, but a specific humanoid being Moff Gideon. 2 rows of tanks, probably 12 apiece, probably 24 of them, all lined up, and all of them have clones of Moff Gideon inside of them. Now, it makes me wonder right off the bat, is Moff Gideon that's here a clone too? Did he really die? And is this a clone? Well, doesn't fucking matter because Dan flips the switch and blows them damn tubes to hell and moseys on about his business, right? And once he meets up with Moff Gideon is pissed at him for destroying his clones, his works of art, because those clones were going to have something that he never had, which was ability to use the Force. Now, believing that he can get this genetically from the Force is stupid. Even Jedis with a strong Force ability have to learn how to use it. It's not just in their DNA to be able to use the Force. The Force is in everybody and in everything. You just have to be trained how to use it. And over a certain concentration, you realize you can do some stuff. That's all it is. Now, if Moff Gideon didn't have the Force, I couldn't see to where it was detrimental to him. It seemed like he came up even without the Force. So him having the Force would have just been the nail in the coffin for some people. And I think that's why it didn't really work. It wasn't supposed to work. Right? Now, when the Mandalorian finally meets up with Moff Gideon, crosses his path and finds him, he is standing in the hangar bay for the base where a lot of the Mandalorian fights are going down. The Mandalorian and Dark Trooper fights are going down. And you get to see that Moff Gideon is pissed and he wanted to take his retribution out on Din Djarin's ass. And as soon as Moff Gideon or Giancarlo Esposito dons the helmet, it's two separate fucking actors, not the leads. And they are fighting it out again. Now, this part seemed a little trite to me because we just fought Moff Gideon in last season. You know, Din and Moff Gideon got it in a little bit fighting each other. I didn't know if we needed to see that again, even with the Beskar armor upgrades and helmet and all that shit. I don't think we need to see that again, personally. But I was not expecting what I did get, which was I thought was not going to happen, that they were just going to keep things on a good even keel and leave it that way. But no. In the middle of a let me kick your ass all over this platform moment from Moff Gideon to Din Djarin, Bo-Katan shows up, shooting Moff Gideon in the back, and lets the Mandalorian know she has this, and that he can go after Grogu. Because during his fight with Moff Gideon, Grogu did come in and try to help out a little bit, especially when the special guest stars showed up and rolled out to try to put Din down. That did not work. They ended up separating the two of them. And the child, Grogu, was actually in a locked room with the guards trying to kill him. Now, this is where Bo-Katan's save coming in and say, oh, he's mine, I'll take him from here. And her fighting Moff Gideon. The first question I ask is, why is she going to do any better than Din? It's not her fucking show. Just saying. Now, this bothered me a little bit, but initially when I first saw the fight kick off between Moff Gideon and Din Djarin, I thought it would be better if Bo-Katan was fighting him instead, because that's kind of her person to go after. Now, while they're having this fight, Moff Gideon proves that he is a bit of a problem and kind of beats up on Bo-Katan like he was beating up on Din Djarin before she interrupted. Right? So Din Djarin runs off to go try to help Grogu, who was in the other room having a whole, evasion exercise against these Imperial red suited guards, whatever the fuck they are. He's dodging and getting out the way, and they're just here for some God unknown reason. Now, what you think happens probably happens. What you probably think happens is what actually happens, to where these Imperial guards are toying with a little bit of Grogu, while he jumps around on chandeliers and stuff and just tries to keep moving and keep from getting his ass sliced in half by these Imperial guards. And what happens next is another predicted thing, which is Grogu has the Force. So Grogu starts to use the Force on these Imperial guards to save himself. And then later, when Din Djarin comes in, killing one of the guys, Grogu uses the Force to help Din Djarin win the fight, pushing weapons closer to his hand or pushing people further away from his hand. Right? He helps him. I don't have a problem with that, but it is what the fuck happened. The last part of this is not as problematic. It seems really safe and straightforward to me. He cut back to the scene with Bo and Moff Gideon fighting. And Moff Gideon is kicking her ass. But he asks her, does she want to give up the Darksaber? What's it going to be? And she does reply to him with like a never or no or whatever, and swings like a baseball bat with this sword and gets her hand caught. And Moff Gideon, by way of his enhancements in his Beskar alloy suit, he's stronger. He crushes the damn Darksaber in her hand and breaks it. And so now it is no more. Because I don't trust anybody Mandalorian in that group, not even the armor, to know how to put one of those back together. I do not. I have no faith in that whatsoever. What you get is the epilogue to this episode. That once the sword is broken or the saber is broken, and Bo-Katan is standing all alone, Moff Gideon kind of chastises her about being alone, and what she tells him is that Mandalorians stick together. They're stronger together. And we introduce Din Djarin with his stolen pistols and Grogu there to triple team on Moff Gideon to keep him from being able to grab his weapon or stand at post against somebody else. He was pushed back with the Force, apparently. But I thought that was kind of an all right thing to have in the show. But it didn't add anything, but it didn't take away anything, which is what I'm happy about. Now, from there, you get the second epilogue where the armorer has led everybody down to the living waters of Mandalore, and she is scooping up some of that water and running it over the younger Vizsla's head since his father was just killed. He is taking the creed and becoming a junior. All of that is all fine and good, but I was waiting to see a mythosaur. But when Din Djarin walks up with Grogu at hand and puts him down, the armorer tells him what she told Paz Vizsla back a bunch of episodes, is that if you can't talk, you can't take the creed. Din wants Grogu to take the creed. Grogu cannot take the creed because Grogu cannot talk yet. So we're at a stalemate. So from there, that is pretty much the end of the episode. You get Din going back and tracking down Carson Teva and making him a deal to work with him as a freelance contractor so he can keep some money coming in. He can get out there and take care of some of these people, but bounty hunting is what he knows, and he wants to bring Grogu along with him. Carson Teva agrees, and now the New Republic has a Mandalorian on their team in a loose formation, so to speak, to just help. That's all well and good, but doesn't do anything for me. The other point of the epilogue is Din Djarin going back to Greef Karga and giving him a new head for the IG robot. I don't know how they did it, but the Anzellans actually took this head that Din Djarin found in the little New Republic outpost, like the little bar area, and takes it back to Navarro so they can fix it and turn it back into IG-11 that is friendly and cooperative. By helping Greef bring back that IG-11 unit, Greef holds to his word and offers Mando a plot of land with a nice little house on it to raise his child. And sure enough, he goes there, parks, and just sits while he watches Grogu sit at the little pond they have and levitate, three-eyed frogs out of it. And that's the end of the season. For me, it could have been a lot stronger. It was not. Was there action? Yes, there was action. Did I see a mythosaur? Yeah. When Grogu couldn't take the creed and he's just sitting there, I guess, using the Force, feeling something down in the water, that something down there does not compute. And you see the mythosaur open his eyes, but you never see him involved in this fight, and that bothered me. That does not work for me. That season finale was so underwhelming. If I was a casual moviegoer, I don't know what reason I'd have in the world to watch that season again or watch the next one. And that's the problem with not having the same hands in something when it's good. So for me, the episode was a bit underwhelming. Didn't show me what I wanted to see. There was no Boba Fett showing up, and no, Katie Sackhoff did not come anywhere close to riding or seeing the mythosaur. I guess they're saving that for another show. But no, nothing was there. And that's disappointing to me, but as it is, it's over. The season is done. I appreciate John and Dave for the effort they did put into the show. And I'm kind of mad at some of the other people there who took that momentum from Luke's return and ground it to the fucking ground. I mean, legit just Shanksville that shit into the ground. Now, I don't know who is on back at Lucasfilm, but they need to get the fuck off of Star Wars projects because they are not good at their job. They are miscasting and misproducing a lot of this shit. 34 minutes. But that's me. I'm going to end it right here. It's over. I really don't feel anything about it, but it is what it is. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. I've been artisanmc, and this has been my review of the Mandalorian Season 3 finale. Yeah. With that, I will see you guys next time. Peace.
You want to talk to me?
We can't wait, but it's all an illusion.